Good day to you all. We are back to our daily devotion. And for today, day of Monday, we are still reading 365 Daily Devotion Bible Character Edition. And for this day, the character that we're going to talk about would be Zimri and Omri. And the title for this daily devotion would be Using Your Time Wisely. So, for the context, as we have studied in the past few days, Nadab became a king, and then he became a bad king. He did not please God. And Baasha conspired against him, and he killed Baasha. And Baasha became a king. And as we continue the study, we are still in the timeline of kings. So we're going to use the 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 8. Let's start with verse 8 as a reference. The 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, Elah the son of Baasha began to reign over Israel in Tirzah, and he reigned 2 years. So the king in this timeline was the son of Baasha, and that is Elah. Let's continue reading. But his servant Zimri, commander of half his chariots or army, conspired against him when he was at Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, who was over the household in Tirzah. Zimri came in and struck him down, and he killed him in the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his place. So since the way for a dynasty to fall and to be a new king to be announced was killing each other. So just like what happened to Nadab, he was killed by Baasha together with his household, and then Baasha became a king. So that's also how Zimri became a king. He conspired against the king, and then he killed him. So that's how Zimri became a king. So let's continue reading. When he began to reign, as soon as he had seated himself on his throne, he struck down all the house of Baasha. So he also killed all the people in the household of Baasha. He did not leave him a single male of his relatives or his friends. Thus Zimri destroyed all the house of Baasha, according to the word of the Lord, which spoke against Baasha by Jehu the prophet, for all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, which they sinned, and they made Israel to sin, provoking the Lord of Israel to anger with their idols. Now the rest of the acts of Elah and all that he did, are they not written in the books of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? So that's the context of this verse. The cycle of killing the king has been repeated. Killing the king together with your household in order for you to replace the kingship, in order for you to have the throne of the king. So let's continue reading. How did Zimri reign in Israel? In the verse 15, it says that in the 27th year of Asa of Judah, as king of Judah, Zimri reigned in 7 days in Tirzah. Now the troops were encamped against Gibeton, which belonged to the Philistines. That's
7 days.
Which belonged to the Philistines. And the troops who were encamped heard it said, Zimri has conspired, and he has killed the king. Therefore all Israel made Omri. So it is not said earlier, but the king had two leaders of chariots. So the first king, or the first leader, would be Zimri. Zimri was the one who killed the king. But the people of Israel chose Omri as their king, the second leader of the chariots. Therefore, the Israel made Omri, the commander of the army, king over Israel the day in the camp. So Omri went up from Gibeton, and all Israel with him, and they besieged Tirzah. Tirzah is the place where the throne of the king is placed. And when Zimri saw the city was taken, he went to the citadel of the king's house and burned the king's house over him with fire, and then died because of his sins that he had committed, doing evil in the sight of the Lord, walking in the way of Jeroboam, and for his sin which he committed, making Israel to sin. Now the rest of the acts of Zimri and the conspiracy that he made, are they not written in the books of the chronicles of the king of Israel? So that's how Zimri used his time as a king. He only had 7 days as a king, but 7 days is enough to worship the Lord. That's why the title for this daily devotion would be using your time wisely. So that's the time that he had. He only had 7 days, but 7 days is enough to worship God. If he only had been used that time to repent to his sins, maybe God will see him as a righteous king and would let him to lead the people of Israel. 7 days is enough because God himself created everything just within 7 days. 7 days is enough. Even the sinner who was placed beside the King Jesus when he was crucified used his time, used his last minute of his life to repent. But Zimri did not repent. He did not consider himself a sinner, and then instead of repenting, he just killed himself, and together with him he set the place of the king with fire. So Zimri did not use his time wisely, did not repent, nor pleased God. All that he think was to take over the kingship. He did not want to be a king to worship God, to change the ways of Israel in that very time. But he just want the throne, he just want the power. Imagine what could have been if he used the power that he had correctly. In just 7 days, he can change the kingdom of Israel. But he did not do that. Instead, he just committed sins just like King Jeroboam. But King Omri was not different either. He is just the same as King Zimri, but Omri's reign lasted for 12 years, and then his son took over, and his son was the worst king of Israel. So Omri and Zimri was just the same. The difference is just Zimri just led the people of Israel in 7 days, but Omri, he led for 12 years, but he is not different either. So what is our teachings? 7 days is long enough to please God. As we have said earlier, 7 days is a long time. He could have been repented. He could have chose to use the power that he had correctly. Second, a true legacy is obedience to God. So Zimri only wanted legacy, but he did not understand that the greatest legacy that he could ever have is obeying God. He can have a true legacy by not being a king, by just a king, or by just being a leader of the chariots of the army. He could be a great leader, a leader that pleases God, but All that he wanted was power. Lastly, what matters is how we use your time and power. So let's apply this devotion in your lives. Use your time wisely. Second, be faithful to God and pass it on. So that's what happened in that time when King Omri reigned in Israel. He did not use his time correctly. He did not pass the principles and the teachings of God to his son, and then his son became the worst king of Israel. He did not become faithful, and he did not become a great role model for his son. Lastly, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, because the days of your youth is the crucial time, because you have all the time to follow God. You have all the time to please God. So let's cherish this time that we had to worship God, to make Him reign over our lives, and let Him walk our lives. And let's not chase the legacy that the Word has taught us, but the legacy that will last for eternity. And that is by following and obeying God. So that would be for daily devotion and live like Christ.